So the world of work continuing to shift, and we hear see and hear all kinds of headlines now about the fact that remote work, 100% remote work, is now back to pre-pandemic levels. A lot of stories about big-time public companies, Google, Facebook, you name them. You got to come back into the office. And so now we're in a place where I think we're going to stay for the long-term future, and that is what is called a hybrid model. And you can work remote some, and you are going to be required to be in the office some, and that's going to be a fluid company to company. And so what's interesting is anytime we as human beings settle into a norm, right? So we've got a new practice of doing things. This is the way we do it. We humans have a way of adapting to it and shortcutting it. And so I see this headline right here from CNBC. Bosses want people back in the office, but employees are finding a workaround, and it's called coffee badging. Have you heard this? There's always a new phrase. I can't hardly keep up with it, and I pay attention to this stuff. So this story focuses on a young lady by the name of Yannick Ivy. She's 27. She works for a tech firm in Atlanta. And this is what she does. She drives in the office once or twice a month. And when she's there, she commits to an 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. schedule, just in time for a catered lunch to catch up with colleagues for a few hours and then beat the Atlanta traffic, which she calls hellish. And by the way, I lived in Atlanta for 11 years. And I don't know if you are a person of faith or what your relationship with religion is, but I'm almost certain that if you are going to go to hell, you must go through Atlanta. I'm positive that's the case. Could be 285, could be 400, 85, 75. I'm just telling you, if you find yourself stuck on that, you better check and just see where we're at in the world. You might be on your way. Okay, so this is now a trend. U.S. workers are showing up for required attendance, but they're not sticking around the full day. More than half, 58% of hybrid workers admit to coffee badging. Now, this is the act of going into the office. So essentially, you fob in, or you keypad, whatever. You get in, you get yourself a cup of coffee. Maybe you say hi to a couple people, and then you go home. Now, this is absurd. But now, how can this happen, right? So the team brings this stuff to me in our production meeting. And there's like 8 of us sitting around in a conference room, and they throw this story up on the thing. And I look at this, and I immediately start to go, how is this possible that people can get away with this? Only certain office guidelines only dictate a number of days that the boss wants you in, but they don't dictate how many hours. So this feels like a giant hole. But then here's the other thing. How is it that people can go to the office, fob in, scan in, get a cup of coffee, and go home? I'll tell you how. Because the leader's not there, or the leader's not aware. It's just that simple. And this is mind-numbing to me. Why would companies and the leaders of these companies be so stupid to require somebody to come in the office, let them scan and leave? Like, where's their leader? The leader's probably doing the same thing. The leader's not there, or the leader's not aware. The leader's in their office, and they're not walking around, leading people, connecting to people, seeing people. Now, I am not a fan of monitoring. I've called this nannyship, right? Where a lot of companies are doing this. And so what they're doing is, so it's extremes. And by the way, both extremes are mind-numbingly stupid. Okay, let's break them down. The one extreme is what we're talking about. Hey, we need you to be in the office 2 days a week. So people come in, beep, get a cup of coffee. What's going on, Fred? Yeah, you want to play pickleball tomorrow night? Great. And then they go home. And that's okay. Well, wait a second. Are you supposed to be in the office or not? Leader's not there. Leader's not aware. That's one extreme. The other extreme is companies like Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Google, Amazon, JP Morgan Chase, just to name a few that have been very public about this policy. Listen to this. They are monitoring people. How long they stay in the office. by looking, do they badge into another floor? We've seen stories where they are monitoring keystrokes on your computer, turning cameras on in your computer and spying on people while they sit at their desk. I mean, this is all happening. This is not me making this stuff up. And so what does that do? It kills trust. None of it, by the way, is necessary. None of it. Those are the two extremes. Now let me break this down. And honestly, I wish every corporate leader in America would just watch the next 3 minutes or 6 minutes. Is it 6 minutes? 6 minutes. Because I want to break this down. The leaders that are coming up with these policies are acting out of fear. Fear creates a need to control. So for some of you go, man, I've got this micromanaging leader. They're micromanager. Can I just tell you what's going on? They're fearful. Is it your fault? Doesn't matter. If you want to have a shot at staying in a place where you've got a controlling leader, the only shot, listen to me, folks, this is just a little extra content. I'm going to break this down for leaders. But for you that are following a controlling leader, the only shot you've got at staying in a place like that is getting to a place where you can build enough connection and conversation with your leader to figure out what they're afraid of. Now, you can't go in and go, hey, I was listening to this guy, Ken Coleman, the other day, and he says, you're afraid. What are you afraid of? That's not a good idea. All right. So we don't want to do that. But we want to be able to ask questions and connect. And if you can figure out what that leader is afraid of, it's going to do two things for you. First, and this is overlooked, it will humanize them. See, what's going on in the workplace right now? By the way, I'm going to tell you all something. What I'm delivering right now, this is deep. I hope you all listen and watch and don't miss what I'm telling you. Because nobody's telling you this anywhere else. I'm just telling you, I'm not patting myself on the back. I just want you to understand this is some depth. Because there's so much tension in the American workplace right now. Us versus them. Worker versus leader. And it's real. So let me just tell you something. If you've got a controlling leader and you can dig and connect and have conversations and asking smart questions kind of around the edges, you can dig in. Come on, folks. You know what I'm talking about. You can do this. If you can figure out what they're afraid of, first and foremost, it humanizes them, which takes away this combative stature and posture that exists between maybe the two of you. So that's huge. So you begin to go, oh. Now, by the way, you're not telling them this, but you've got to walk away and go, oh, they're insecure about this. They're afraid of this because of, oh, okay. Now, as the worker with a controlling leader, this is your opportunity to lead up and influence your leader. Because now that you've ascertained or you've figured out, for those of you who are under the age of 50, don't know what that word ascertain means. Now you got this. You go, oh, okay, I see the source. I understand. I don't agree with how they're acting, but I understand how they're acting. By the way, this is the key to parenting teens. Yeah, you'll never understand why a teen does what they do. It's impossible. They're nuts. It's a season of life where they're literally insane. However, as a dad, if I can understand why my teen is acting this way, okay, all right, now I can parent. Same thing, empathy, understanding, and leads to compassion for your leader. And so what can you do? This is the $1 million question. What can you do to alleviate their fears? And then if you can alleviate their fears, watch what happens. And by the way, I'm coming at this because I think some of you will get this. I'm coming at this as a parent. I am my most controlling when I am most fearful with my kids. When I'm on them like a heavy blanket and they're like, Dad, chill out. Sometimes they're right. And if I'm being honest, I am at my most controlling as a parent and husband. Somebody's going to have to send this to Stacy. She's going to really love this. When I am fearful, right? Now, leaders, let me pivot. Leaders, stop trying to monitor people and start mentoring people. If you just mentor people as their leader, yes, they're required to be in. Great. but they shouldn't have to scan. You should know that they're in because you're there with them. I know. You don't have to check up on them if you're checking in with them. Big difference. All of this monitoring by these massive companies is unnecessary if the leader, the manager of the team is in the building, on the floor, walking around the halls, meeting with people on a daily basis, at least a weekly basis, saying, how can I help you win? But what do? I'm fearful. I'm fearful these people aren't working at home. I'm fearful these people aren't working if I don't see their keystrokes. Really? Why are you so afraid of that? What are you doing as a leader to foster your own fear? I'll tell you right now, if I'm communicating with my kids, if I'm in my kids' life, I don't have to monitor them. I have results that I expect. You live in this house, this is what you do. And I'll explain it once, maybe twice. Why? After that, it's not about the why, it's the get it done. And if you're not getting it done, then we have a conversation. That's leadership. We're so worried about how many hours people are working, where they're working, instead of going, how about we focus on the why? And if we can connect the why, good people are going to do the work, and we just get out of the way. So there you go. Enough of the nannyship, leaders. People don't want to be monitored. They want to be mentored. They want to be trusted. And you have to start. This is the Ken Coleman Show.